Hello everybody, Troublemaker here, and we're covering Clash of the Clans 2 with probably one of the biggest 4v4 tournaments that's put on to date. So this is not going to be one of the bigger matches, but I will say it's probably got some really high profile talent, and we'll go into that after the introduction. First off, representing NATO, we have WTF, FTW. And representing as Pact, we have EWGG, which I guess stands for East-West German Gamers, I guess. So yeah, the big names. We have FIFA 55, who was the winner of the Wargame Cup. He beat 1,000 players to get that title. Rebar was a top, I want to say 16. And Anoka, of course, has his own channel and is quite a troll. Tomo Scamia, you know, his name is in my head because he was actually somebody else before Tomo Scamia, I'm pretty sure. But he's also ends up being one of the top players in the game currently. So individually in 1v1 combat, these guys are all phenomenal players. But one of the funny things about team play is that just because people are really good at 1v1 doesn't mean they're really good at team play. That's one of those weird concepts. So we're looking at a map that's not actually all that balanced as far as things go. Just an example, we look at this side of the map, we have a Mike base, which has 2 entry points to defend. And it leads very, very close into this wandering area here. But on this side, there isn't a really close space to get to that does that. In fact, this one only has the 1 entry point, and as indicated by 1A shot here, like this is actually like a place where you have to attack and defend. So that's kind of brutal. It's not too heavily skewed in one direction either, but it just has like these minor imbalances where 1 or 2 of your 4 players are going to have a really bad day. So let's look at the command count here. We have 1 command here from Rebar, 1 from Tomo Scamia, 3, 4, 5 commands on the map. And their opponents, EWGG, have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 commands for EWGG, 5 commands for WTF, FTW, and that has a huge effect on it. If EWGG can land all other commands, they will gain a trickle, a beginning trickle, and they'll be able to kind of get a good rush, and that will put the onus on WTF, FTW. That's a ridiculous name, by the way, Inoka, to actually do some damage. Now we have some phantoms coming. You're going to try and drop some megaton bombs here on top of the large. Did either of these hit? This is huge. It's actually going to go, oh, just barely, but everything's going to drive through. And look at this immediate stun. They're just going to continue driving through. FIFA 55, not even stopping. He's just going to go on through. And pretty high amount of damage being done there. All things considered, that was a really good shot there. Command tower was put in place, and there will be a command here at Kilo as well. And looks like +1 will early on go to WTF for the win, which gives them a 1-point trickle for a lead by the EWGG of 7-1. As yes, they in fact will get that +1 point trickle already. We see some links are going to get thrown away here, just thrown too far, wanting to drop some units into this forward position, but there's already just too much stuff here. And like this small quick path here, they actually moved the command here and started rallying in units. They didn't move the units here. That's a pretty smart use of terrain right there by Tomo Scamia. And in fact, he's able to rally in a ridiculous number of tanks, AT, scouts, recon, infantry, lots of cool stuff. And this is kind of problematic for our EWGG team because now the reinforcement point here at the he's covering the name, this base here, it's gone. They've lost it, and this is actually a phenomenal play. I feel like this should be copied. He has not spent a single point, and he just instantly rallied all these tanks at this one location. Very, very smooth by you, Tomo Scamia. Well worth copying. All the while on this flank here, we're seeing a Leopard 2A4 going to move by 55, who of course, FIFA is a champion not because of some amazing tactics, but because of well-practiced micro. And this guy is a micro god. Now, of course, since his tournament performance, other players have caught up to him, and I feel as though he hasn't really performed all that well since then. We have one command getting axed here, actually, which is a bigger deal than you'd suspect. And big artillery fire here from Anoka gets quite a few unit kills here, and a little bit of stun action, but 2 leopards go down. This is already our prize team is kind of showing a little bit of greenness here in the team play. Currently, Tomos Kimi, however, is doing a pretty big push here. Going to grab some Panzer Grenadiers, but really, what's he going to lose here? There's some Natos up front that he might lose, and yeah, pretty good spread though. It's just, it's weird watching this kind of caliber of talent play, because you can just see in the individual how they micro. Like, this is the kind of stuff they practice, right? Whereas a team like EWGG is like, we will take blah blah base and we'll put infantries here. We will take Foxtrot and put up, like, they're very strategical oriented. They're practicing strategies. Whereas, like, you know, a team like WTF for the win is really going for like very micro oriented player. Here comes a tornado, by the way, but the spread here is really good. They might get some infantry, which would be pretty good, and yes, they do. Those infantry, of course, were destined for this wooded location here, which would have gave a forward location, hit these Chieftain Mark 10s and these tracked rapiers. And in fact, we got a Mark 10 move forward, trying to hit some pot shots at the Chieftain Mark 2. Will it get pulled back? I don't know. It's hard to say. But there is a spread here, and on Natos will be coming in. Oh, the Scimitar instantly goes down. This is just really good positioning. I mean, a lot of people really criticize my flank videos being just too simplistic. Like, that's just obvious. But you don't see people do this stuff. This is a setup flank so that when you rush in, you're going to get dominated by just all those weak armor shots. Speaking of which, we see some infantry getting rushed here by a group of vehicles. And I don't understand the vehicle choice. None of these vehicles can actually hit these infantry. In fact, they all die. There is a Grizzly here, which of course is proudly Canadian. But unfortunately, Canadian vehicles are not that good, and it's forced to retreat. There is going to be 3 more of these PBT, as in my name. Oh my god. Burning to death is not a way to go. I'll say that much. I would rather get hit by sarin gas than get burnt to death. In fact, historically, it was indicated that sarin gas is more humane than other weapons, because sarin gas doesn't necessarily kill. Of the 30,000 people hit with sarin gas in Iran, only 600 died. Yes, Iran, not Syria, because this was like 30 years ago this happened. Anyway, small little tank battle happening here, and keep in mind, this is a NATO versus NATO, so we're going to see a lot of similar unit types here, and there's not going to be like a, oh, that chieftain is imbalanced, because they're both using the exact same chieftain. But this chieftain, of course, is in this Mark II. The Mark II might be able to get away. Gotta pull back, gotta pull back. And just so many units hitting from so many angles here. Very, very good from Tomos Kimi. Wants to kill this Rover Milan, though, as well. That's a big problem. Like, where's your priorities when you have a big tank and an AT vehicle? It's really hard to choose. And in fact, we have a VAB hitting from behind. We're going to hit some of those massive crits, as well as some infantry joining in. So this rover will go out pretty easily. The tanks, however, need to be picked off. Oh, final AT rocket hits it. Phantom can come in, drop in the payload. Where is it going to hit? Miss is where it's going to hit. Huge miss, actually. And yeah, just doesn't hit anything at all. Not that good. And this location's actually been completely flushed out. Look at this random Jager squad here, which has just cleared out this location, got rid of the command, and now we're back to a stalemate situation. The plan worked out for EWGG. They did, in fact, get that pretty early lead, but they gotta get a command back in this location, clear it back out, and just keep trickling up those points. They can still win without trading cost effectively. You don't need to trade cost effectively to win this, but if you trade cost ineffectively and you don't have commands in place, then you're in trouble. Speaking of which, we do have some Harpins, which are completely empty on their main rocket type moving forward. And there's lots of Rolands in A here, and there's a call by Rebar to defend here, but realistically, he can just push up with these Leopard 2s and just slaughter this entire army. They will get pushed back, of course, into this middle base, which is protected by the Command Leopard CL. And there's also been a pretty effective push here by Sorcha Boy and FIFA 55. Or Sorcha Boy and FIFA 55 facing each other. As it looks like FIFA's going to try and go for a mountain game. Try and stack some infantries in this location and get some decent tank shots. If he places a tank, for example, right here, you can hit into this location, and it severely limits what you can do as far as reinforcements go. And that's a big part of this team plan, is just knocking at those reinforcements. It worked really, really well. Tomo Scamilla just being really, really phenomenally here. Jagers will finally get cleaned up by Fusiliers and FV432s, as well as some Canadian Grizzlies and a Ma, which is also proudly Canadian. This message has been brought to you by the Canadian government. Why club a baby seal when you can wear its fur for free? Anyway, probably shouldn't bring up the baby seal clubbing thing. Kind of a soft spot for Europeans. They don't like to hear the clubbing of baby seals, I guess. Anyway, a little bit of Canadian humor there, as another command will finally move in. Jager's knocked out, and EWGG has a really great opportunity to knock out a high competitor here. Now keep in mind, as far as, even though WTF, FTW's tactics have been very good, their trade effectiveness is very good, their positions have been very good, up until this point they haven't really been trickling in any kind of extra income. And that will be kind of a problem for them. We do see this pace has been finally taken over Tomo Scamilla. Their all-star player, by the way, is Tomo Scamilla, in case you're wondering. And that gave them a little momentary trickle. And if they can push forward, you know, WTF for the win will in fact be the winners. They're pushing here probably could work, will work. There's a lot of hesitancy to try and do a too aggressive a play, though. And here comes Inoka bringing up the good old-fashioned Pizik Befwig Leopard 2. I don't name these things, okay? I don't name it the Piz Befwig Leopard 2. That's not me, okay? That is the country of Eastern Germany, apparently. East Germans in the Eastern German language decided to call it the Piz Befwig Leopard 2. Not me. Don't blame me. So, actually, that was probably the West Germans because it was NATO. Oops. My bad. Country of West Germany. Here comes a forward advance of some Leopard 2A4s from Anoka. Gonna try and challenge Sorcha Boy for this location. And keep in mind, this is Sorcha Boy and 355 on this one flank. That's how important this flank is to them. They have 2 players on this one flank. Whereas this entire area is being covered by Sorcha Boy by himself. And truthfully, that might be a pretty bad division. As, yeah, they've gained this middle base because One Eye Shot has a very limited range of responsibilities right now, but without being able to help support in this kind of struggle or having a staging from this angle, he's kind of not really in a good position to help. He has gained both these bases, but he's not really supporting anyone, which is kind of problematic, and that's actually one factor where the teamwork of WTF for the win is definitely winning over. Anoka and 55 working together have actually knocked out 2 points now. They've gained the hotel location. They've moved their tanks forward. And now with the perfect staging of tanks here, they're going to push forward. They have a rover seat. That's dangerous. You're a dangerous boy at 55. He's actually grabbed this location with a 110-point command jeep, which could be easily killed by a single rocket, easily, or anything. In fact, there's like one-eye shots like, somebody please kill this, please. I know it's supposed to be my job to support, but I'm telling you guys, I want you to do this. And it's true, anything could kill this. An artillery fire. This point will get completely cleared out. There's a lot of flak panzers here. Not a cost-effective trade for anything on the map right now. In fact, a second rover CP is actually getting moved in by 55. Oh my god. This guy is just so much smarter than everyone in the entire world. That's what I'm saying right now. He was like, well, they know I have a command jeep there. I put in there to get a small trickle of points, so I'm going to move in another one immediately. Like, he put in that command jeep just to get a points trickle, bait them into attacking, and just put another one. And keep in mind, this is how daring he's being. He put it in the exact same frigging place the last one died in. That's insane! So we're seeing +5 now for WTF for the win, who who are on track to an absolute victory. Just these tanks battles have been going too well for them. In fact, we see Tomos Kamiya is finally moving up his tanks, bringing in some infantry. He's got this little base location here. If he could stage some AT, he could absolutely just crush. He's also got a Sea Knight moving into this random location. I don't know what this bad boy's going to do. However, it does get, in fact, caught by a Gazelle AH Schneeb, which is a really weird recon helicopter that actually has munitions, which is just really bizarre to me. AT Milan will in fact fire on the Chieftain Mark II and miss. Huge miss. But the forces of evil, that would be WTF for the win, continue to push forward, and there's just so many big beefy tanks here. Like these guys just have a really big hard on for the Leopard 2, and there will be one defending Leopard 2 here, but the command vehicle will in fact move back, and another position will in fact go to WTF for the win, who have a lot of the map right now. You can actually draw a woman's reproductive organs here, and that would represent the kind of map coverage that WTF for the win has right now. And a small group of units was rallied in, but they will be dying very quickly. Very cheap AT, all are going to die to very cost-effective tanks. In fact, there is a Fringe Spear up here just trying to spot, just running around spotting, and this is kind of a neat thing. Not spotted itself, but it's spotting. That is a really cool thing. I think that's pretty cool. Use of infantry. A lot of people complain about infantry in Wargame AirLand battle, but I think the role of infantry in Wargame AirLand was 10 times better than it was in European Escalation. I can't wait to see what they do for Red Dragon. Speaking of which, we have the Harrier going to come in and drop a little bit of a bomb. Ooh, I think I got its payload off though. I could be mistaken though. In fact, it didn't. It just crashed. We have 50 infantry going to rush forward with some vehicles. These ones, of course, are not the good ones, and there's actually not much to defend this. We have 50 infantry coming up against 5 MA, as well as some Lob 25s, which of course do have the Bushmaster tank destroyer on them, which is devastating. In the very earliest moments of the game, people were just rushing forward with just Lob 25s. They would actually drop the U.S. Marines in any old location because they didn't care about the U.S. Marines, and they just rushed with like 30 or 40 Lob 25s. That's how crazy they were. There is a Fringe Spear here to kind of try and repel this, but unfortunately I think this Fringe Spear's days are numbered. Free infantry being given up. There is a Lob Stinger here, and yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the more brutal matches we've seen so far of this tournament. It just really turned sideways on EWGG, who will in fact have to be dropped into the losers bracket. They did really, really well in like round 1-ish, where it was like that you know, ladder of death runoff. But yeah, this is brutal. One Eye Shot does in fact surrender. Probably the best choice at this point. We have just legions of tanks coming through. Really not much for armies showing up, and there's just too many forces coming up for, you know, our forces of evil here. The FTW is in fact going to happen. The FTW is going to weapon. There's only one person left in this match right now. I think it's Sorcha Boy, or maybe it's Gumby Alfali. Yes, Sorcha Boy, and that is that. Surrendering at a +7. Not exactly brave. There is a Hornet going to come in here, and of course Hornets are your Canadian manufactured units. Going to go to all nations of the world, and a pretty solid win here for Inoka Tomoskino Rebar and P55. If you're another team in the tournament, these are going to be very scary people to face. I'm not entirely sure who they're facing yet, but the level of competition will be just that much higher in the next round. You've gotten rid of a lot of these bottom tier teams. They moved into the loser bracket, and now you have some of just the best of the best facing each other. And even the losers brackets are going to get pretty competitive very soon. If you guys want to see more, make sure to subscribe. I'll be doing matches every day they become available. And definitely like and share this video with your friends. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.